Jeffrey Epstein was a wealthy financier who moved in elite circles, counting presidents and princes among his acquaintances. He was a familiar face at the world's most exclusive gatherings, seamlessly blending into the background of power and privilege. For years he cultivated relationships with influential figures, attending lavish parties and private events where the world's elite mingled, often without scrutiny or suspicion. But behind his carefully crafted image of success, Epstein was a convicted sex offender who orchestrated a vast sex trafficking network, preying on vulnerable young women and girls. His crimes were not isolated incidents. They were part of a systematic pattern of abuse that spanned decades, hidden behind a facade of wealth and respectability. His crimes were enabled by a system and a network of powerful people who surrounded him. These individuals, whether through willful ignorance or active participation, helped shield Epstein from consequences, allowing his predatory behavior to continue unchecked. The web of complicity extended far beyond Epstein himself, implicating those who benefited from his connections or turned a blind eye. Even after his death in 2019, public fascination with Epstein endures, fueled by unanswered questions about who knew, who participated, and who helped him. The mystery surrounding his connections and the extent of his crimes continues to grip the public imagination, as journalists and investigators dig deeper into the tangled web he left behind. Every new photo or document is scrutinized for clues about his secretive life. These images and papers are more than just historical records. They are pieces of a puzzle that the world is still trying to solve. Each discovery has the potential to reveal new information about the people who moved in Epstein's orbit and the secrets they may still be hiding. The latest release of photos from his private collection is significant. They're not just party snapshots, but artifacts from a world built on abuse and secrecy. These images capture moments that, at first glance, seem ordinary, but take on a darker meaning in light of what we now know. They offer a rare glimpse into the hidden side of high society, where power and exploitation often went hand in hand. Each image is a reminder of how Epstein operated in plain sight, welcomed by the global elite. The photos show him laughing, shaking hands, and posing with celebrities and politicians, evidence of how easily he moved through circles that should have held him accountable, but instead offered him protection. For victims and the public, these photos force a conversation about accountability and the powerful figures who may have looked the other way. They serve as a stark reminder that justice is not just about punishing one man, but about confronting the systems and individuals that allowed his crimes to persist. They bring abstract names from his black book to life, reigniting demands for answers. Each face, each name, is a thread that could unravel more of the truth, and the public's determination to know who was involved has only grown stronger with every new revelation. The continued interest in Epstein's world is a demand for accountability and a refusal to let the story fade. As more evidence comes to light, the pressure mounts on authorities and institutions to provide transparency and justice, not just for Epstein's victims, but for society as a whole. These photos are a fresh reminder that justice is still being sought. They are not just relics of the past, but calls to action, urging us to keep asking questions, to keep searching for the truth, and to ensure that those who enabled Epstein's crimes are finally held to account. The newly released images were extracted from Epstein's computers and personal email accounts, digital remnants of his secretive life. Investigators obtained this trove, which has become a key source for law enforcement and congressional committees. Nearly 100 photos were released on December 12, 2024, by Democrats on the U.S. House Oversight Committee. This is just a fraction of over 95,000 images under review, hinting at more revelations to come. The release is separate from the upcoming broader disclosure mandated by the Epstein Files Transparency Act. These photos, pulled directly from Epstein's devices, offer a personal, if incomplete, record of his world. With little context provided, they remain silent witnesses to a life built on secrecy and manipulation. The official reason for releasing these photos is transparency, giving the public a direct look at Epstein's network. For years, rumors swirled about his powerful connections. These images aim to replace speculation with evidence. The committee hopes to expose the elite circles that protected Epstein and to prevent such abuses from recurring. The release is part of a broader push for openness, reflected in the bipartisan Epstein Files Transparency Act. Faces in the photos are often redacted to protect privacy, especially of potential victims. Critics call the timing political, but the principle of transparency has wide support. The committee weighed the public's right to know against potential harm, ultimately deciding that showing these connections was essential. Even without full context, the images are a crucial step toward accountability. Some of the most discussed images feature Donald Trump and Bill Clinton, visually confirming their presence in Epstein's social world. Trump appears at parties with Epstein in the 1990s and early 2000s, often surrounded by redacted faces. Clinton, known to have flown on Epstein's jet, also appears, reinforcing his documented ties. These photos are more than snapshots. They're evidence of how Epstein ingratiated himself with the powerful across the political spectrum. Both Trump and Clinton have since distanced themselves, downplaying their relationships. Regardless, the images solidify their connection in the public mind, ensuring ongoing scrutiny. Epstein's ability to gather such figures was central to his power and the veneer of legitimacy he used to hide his crimes. It's vital to remember, being pictured with Epstein does not mean someone was complicit in his crimes. Epstein was a relentless networker, photographing himself with countless celebrities, politicians, and business leaders. Many may have had no knowledge of his criminal activities. A photo only proves two people were in the same place at the same time. Without context, these images are just social records, not evidence of wrongdoing. Investigators must look beyond photos to flight logs, testimonies, and financial records to uncover the truth. The photos are a starting point for inquiry, not proof of guilt. The public must distinguish between association and complicity as investigations continue. The photo release sparked immediate partisan conflict in Washington. Democrats framed it as a necessary act of transparency and accountability. Republicans accused them of a political stunt, claiming the release targeted Trump while ignoring Epstein's ties to others. Trump downplayed his relationship, calling Epstein a ubiquitous social figure. This political bickering threatens to overshadow the real issues: justice for victims and accountability for enablers. The truth risks being lost amid partisan spin, making it harder for the public to understand the full story. Trump and Clinton aren't the only prominent figures in Epstein's photo collection. Prince Andrew, whose friendship with Epstein has already damaged his reputation, appears in the new batch. Hollywood and business elites like Woody Allen and Richard Branson are also pictured, showing Epstein's reach beyond politics. Academics and government officials, including Larry Summers and Alan Dershowitz, are present as well. Even a framed photo of Bill Gates was found in Epstein's home. Other political figures, such as Ehud Barak and Steve Bannon, also appear. The diversity of names highlights Epstein's global network, spanning politics, entertainment, and business. His ability to cultivate such relationships gave him legitimacy and protection. These connections were key to how he hid his crimes for so long. The photos don't just show famous faces, they pull back the curtain on the opulent, unsettling world Epstein built for himself. Each image is a window into a life of excess, secrecy, and manipulation, where luxury masked something far more sinister. Images from his private island, Little St. James, reveal not just wealth, but a strange, almost surreal environment. Bizarre and luxurious rooms, like one with a dentist's chair, fuel endless speculation about what really happened behind closed doors. The decor is both lavish and unsettling, hinting at secrets that may never be fully uncovered. The luxury of his properties was part of the trap, impressing powerful guests and isolating victims. Every detail, from the grand entrances to the secluded locations, was designed to dazzle and disarm, making it easier for Epstein to manipulate those who entered his world. Photos of his beachfront resort and New York mansion display the immense wealth he used to lure and control. These were not just homes. They were stages for a carefully constructed illusion of safety and privilege, hiding the darkness within. Personal snapshots, like Epstein in a bathtub, offer a glimpse into his self-absorbed, isolated life. These candid moments reveal a man who relished his own power and privacy, surrounded by luxury but ultimately alone. These images make the horror of his crimes more tangible, showing the environments where abuse occurred. The empty, echoing rooms and shadowy hallways are silent witnesses to the suffering that took place within their walls. For the public, seeing these spaces turns abstract allegations into concrete reality. The stark contrast between beauty and brutality is impossible to ignore, making the truth harder to look away from. The photos underscore the urgency of justice. They remind us that behind every gilded door, there may be stories that demand to be heard and wrongs that must be righted. They show not just a host to the elite, but a predator who built a gilded cage, one that trapped not only his victims, but perhaps himself as well. The call for accountability grows louder with every new image, as the world demands answers and justice for those whose lives were forever changed by Epstein's hidden world. The release of these photos is a turning point, but not the end of the Epstein saga. For years, much of what happened remained hidden behind closed doors, protected by secrecy and influence. Now, with these images in the public eye, the story enters a new phase, one where the truth is harder to ignore, and accountability becomes possible. These photos provide visual evidence of the powerful network that shielded him, moving the story beyond rumors and speculation. They offer a rare glimpse into the connections and relationships that allowed Epstein to operate for so long, despite mounting allegations and public suspicion. For survivors, the images are both validating and painful reminders of the system that enabled their abuser. Seeing these faces and places in the open can bring a sense of recognition, but also reopen old wounds. It's a complicated mix of relief and renewed trauma, as the world finally sees what they have known all along. More revelations are coming. The Epstein Files Transparency Act will soon force the release of thousands of documents, including court records and testimonies. This unprecedented disclosure could shed light on years of cover-ups, expose new names, and reveal the full scope of the network that protected Epstein. These files may answer questions the photos cannot, offering crucial context about who knew what, when, and how decisions were made behind the scenes. They could clarify the roles of key players and fill in the gaps left by previous investigations. As more information emerges, pressure will mount on those in Epstein's circle. Public scrutiny will intensify, and those who once remained silent may be compelled to speak out or face consequences. The media, legal experts, and the public will all be watching closely, analyzing every new detail and demanding answers from those in positions of power. The long-term impact could include damaged reputations, new lawsuits, and even criminal investigations. The ripple effects may reach far beyond the courtroom, changing how institutions handle abuse and accountability. The case exposes the dark intersections of wealth, power, and abuse, forcing society to confront uncomfortable truths about who is protected and who is left vulnerable. These photos, and the files to come, are part of a long overdue reckoning. They represent a demand for transparency and a refusal to let the past remain buried. The world is watching, and the demand for justice will not fade. As the truth comes to light, the hope is that real change will finally follow.